Hi guys. Hi, I think I'm the only person on here right now. Talking to myself. What's up? Oh, there we go. Hi, how are you? Hi guys. Hi, thanks for coming. So my name is Jessica and I'm the artistic director of a Class Act New York. And today we're gonna be joined by an amazing young actor, Jillian Shea Spaeder, who did our classes, and then she went on to star in a Disney XD show called Walk the Prank, which probably a lot of you guys know. I think she's just requested to join, so here we go. She's coming on. Hi. Hi, Mama Spaeder. Hi. What's up, Jillian? How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good. How's everything going?
So good. Getting cold. That's good.
Yeah. Where are you right now?
I'm in Philadelphia.
You are. Okay.
I was
Nice.
just in LA, but I just came back like a week and a half ago-ish.
Wow. So Jillian, it's been a while since I've seen you.
I know.
And we have a lot of ground to cover tonight because you do so many things. It's quite remarkable for a girl of your age. I think you're 18, right?
Yeah, 18.
Okay. So I'm just going to give our little audience a little bit of background on who you are, what what we want to talk about today. So initially I met you a bunch of years ago. You came to our studio to do some workshops. You studied with the awesome Disney and Nick director, Wendy Ferrone, who we love. And I think she wound up, after you booked a Disney show called Walk the Prank, I think she wound up being a director on some of those episodes.
Yeah, she directed a lot on Walk the Prank.
So it's just such a small world, right?
Yes.
And not only are you this awesome young actor, and you have a really cool project that's coming up soon, which we'll talk about too later on, but you're also a singer-songwriter. You've done directing, you've done producing. I think you've written stuff. It's just mind-boggling because I'm a lot older than you, and I'm like, how does she do it all?
Thank you.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm in awe. So, so let's go back to the beginning. So I'm sure people have a lot of questions. And what was your big breakout role?
Walk the Prank definitely was.
Oh wait, did I lose your sound or? Oh, hi.
Timer on my Instagram and I just disabled it for the day. It's my attempt to not be on my phone, but it doesn't really work. I just ignore it. My first role was Walk the Prank. I did a guest star role on a Nick show called Nicky, Ricky, Dicky, and Dawn right after we filmed the pilot for it. So it was really my first role ever on TV, and it was so much fun. I started when I was 12, and I think we went until I was like 15.
Wow, pretty cool, huh? So you basically kind of grew up. I mean, those are some formative years there, you know?
Totally.
So that's awesome. So did you have to move from your hometown in Pennsylvania? Did you have to relocate to LA?
Yeah, when I booked the show, I had just gone out for like 2 months. I had never been there other than vacation. And I got the pilot and we got a place in LA because I found this apartment that I was like, Mom, we need to get this. We need to get this. I love it. I love this apartment. It feels like a home. And my mom was like, wait, your show's not picked up. If it doesn't get picked up, we don't want to get locked into this, whatever. I convinced her. I was like, I think the show's going to get picked up. Let's get the apartment. So we did. And then it worked out nicely. And
wow.
I ended up staying there, and I go back and forth a lot now.
Wow. And how do you do that with COVID? Just out of curiosity, because I'm afraid to get on a plane.
Yeah, I'm terrified. I'm the biggest social distancer on the face of the earth. I've only flown twice. I went to LA a week ago, or 4 weeks ago, I guess, and then back a week ago just to film a short film real quick. And then I guess when I came here, but I just wore an N95 mask. I didn't take a sip of water the whole day.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't move, and I sat there and I was like,
oh my gosh. Yeah, that would be me.
I was terrified.
That would be me. I'm totally freaked out. In fact, I'm going to visit my parents because I haven't seen them since before the pandemic in December, and they're down in Florida. So I'm going to go on a train, and I'm going to have my own private car on this train, and I'm going to sleep overnight on the train. I'm such a freak. Anyway, so
that's so valid.
so let me ask you a little bit more. So about Walk the Prank, that particular experience. So I'm assuming once you book the show, tell me about schooling. Like for those young actors out there who want to do this as a profession, what was school like? You know, tell us all about that experience.
School is interesting on set. There's a lot of rules. Now I'm 18, so I don't have to do it anymore.
Yay.
Hip hip hooray to that. Normally we did an hour a day, and then we would have to go in on weekends and bank hours for a bunch. We would spend all of our weekends in school. We really did like an hour a day, 20-minute blocks. Honestly, like school's hard because it's chaotic and there's a lot going on and you're working and you're busy. So it kind of becomes doing school from 7 p.m. when you get home until 11 and then waking up at 5 again. But I love it. And honestly, a lot of people get so much school done on set, but I, as a child especially, got so distracted and could not get through any of my schoolwork. So I ended up just doing absolutely nothing during school and sitting there and then doing it when I got home.
Wow, right. I would too, because there's so much going on a set. There's like a million people on set. They're all walking around you, setting up for the next scene. And I couldn't possibly concentrate in that environment. So, wow. Yeah. So it's a lot. I mean, you have to learn your lines for the next day sometimes, right? Like how far in advance do they give you a script? I mean, you had to do schoolwork. I think like a lot of people don't really understand when they're child actors, how difficult that is. Like you're a working actor and you have to be in school at the same time. Like that seems unfair.
The memorization thing's interesting because I remember being like 12 and getting 3-page scripts and like sitting on the couch crying because I couldn't memorize for like my audition 3 days later. And it was such a struggle to memorize. And I swear I did Walk the Prank and now I can memorize like 20 pages in 5 minutes.
So it really, it like,
absolutely. Because you get scripts the night before. Like they give you a table read and you read the episode like 2 months before, but like that obviously doesn't stick from that one read. And then it ends up changing the night before anyway. So even if you try and be like, okay, I'm going to memorize all of these episodes 2 months in advance, it's not even going to have the same title.
Right. Oh my gosh. So you really have to exercise that part of your brain, but you were able to do it and now you're able to. So that's cool. So basically what tips would you have for young actors or any actor really on memorization? Is it just reading the words or what do you do to help you memorize faster?
All of my friends have completely different techniques. It's really funny. I normally read it a bunch. And then if I have like a crazy long paragraph, I'll take it word by word and read the first word, second word, first word, second word, third word, first, second, third, fourth. And I'll just read the whole thing, but add one word every single time. And then halfway through you get bored. But I had like a 2-page audition that was a monologue, 2 pages and teeny lettering covered 2 full pages of paper. And I think I memorized it in like 20 minutes. I think you just like read it. And
do you do it out loud, Jillian, to help? Like, because what I always tell my students, I don't know if this works for you, but saying the line out loud in addition to reading it in your head, you have a greater chance of remembering it than if you're just, reading.
I definitely think that works. When I have auditions in different languages, I tend to do that a lot because I feel like it helps to like.
Wait, what do you mean in different languages?
Will have to be Spanish a lot. Like they make you speak in Spanish. I had a French one last week. Like you just have to random auditions sometimes. Like even if the kid just like speaks French in French class at school, you like have to.
Are you good with accents?
Weird, but I normally I do that out loud a lot. Right. With my normal lines, I normally just read it in my head, which all of my friends read it out loud. For some reason, for me, like the best way is sometimes even writing them. Like I'll get a piece of paper and write it from memory.
Right.
And because you're writing so slowly and not at speaking pace, it gives your brain time to like actually think of what it is. And like, I think it definitely helps the learning process.
So like everyone basically, like what you're saying is you kind of have to do what works for you though. Like some of your friends don't do it that way, but this is what you've discovered. So try different things, but writing it out for sure is another thing we talk about. Saying it out loud if that works for you, reading it, whatever. Now, do you practice your lines sitting down or standing up?
That's so funny. You know, I probably sitting, but I tend to, like, if I have an audition script, I'll go over it in my head in the car. I'll do it in my head in my bed before I go to sleep. Oh, that's the number one thing I think on the face of the earth is read it 15 times before bed and your brain will know it in the morning.
Right.
It's the weirdest thing, but it's the same way with music. Like if you play it 10 times before bed, it's almost like your brain is practicing it while you're sleeping, and it like doesn't make sense, but it happens.
I hear that's a huge thing too. So awesome.
Always read it before bed.
Cool. All right, good. These are awesome tips. Thank you. So, all right, let's go back to Walk the Prank because I know a lot of people love you from that show. What was your favorite episode or your favorite moment on the show?
Oh.
Wait, you guys, we have so many people commenting on the election on here, Jillian. They're like, Trump, this, that, crybaby, love him, blah, blah, blah. Let's just like listen to what Jillian has to say because she's awesome. So it's like distracting me.
Getting distracted.
If I knew how to disable the comments, I would, because I just want to talk to you. Okay, so tell me.
You can hide them.
How do you do that? I'm such an old lady.
I'm trying to think of how to do it. It'll like go away after a second, and then you can click it. Are there like 3 dots somewhere? You can like
whatever. It's all good. It's all good. So tell me, Jillian, what was your favorite episode of Walk the Prank? Or did you have a favorite episode?
Oh, you know, my favorites are always like the pranks because they were real pranks, and no one believes me when I say that, but they genuinely were. And my favorite was probably, I think it's in the season 2 premiere, and I was a robot. Okay. And I was in like 6 hours of hair and makeup for it. It was insane. And the target is so funny that you think he's an actor, but he genuinely believed everything happening. It's crazy.
You thought you were a real robot?
Mm-hmm. He thought I was a robot. Come and kill him.
So you have to sit though, the hair and makeup part, I mean, that's wild. 6 hours. I mean, are you allowed to move? Like, are you just sitting there?
Totally.
Like, okay.
Yeah, the makeup artist on Walk the Prank I was like BFFs with. I love them. So we would just like hang out. Somebody would play music. You're sitting there. If you need water or breaks or whatever, they let you get up. Nobody's mean. Right. But yeah, it's a long process, and you do kind of have to stay still a lot, which is weird. But
how many times?
Weirder. Did it a lot.
Really?
Yeah, I had a lot of prosthetics on that show. So I was in hair and makeup quite a bit. But the funnier part is when you're getting prosthetics, they sometimes build them on your face, and sometimes they build them on a mannequin and then put them on your face. Mm-hmm. But to build it on a mannequin, you have to go through this thing. Oh, I forget what it's called, but it's absolutely horrible. They basically take like, there's no way I can describe it other than it feels like cement. Right. And they pour it down your face and then like poke holes for your nose so you can breathe, but your mouth is pried shut and your whole face and your whole head. And it's like 10 layers of it. So it's like this far off your head and it's super heavy and like you can't breathe, and it has to be there for like 20 minutes. And then they pop it off to make a mold of your face so they can build prosthetics. But that's horrifying. I had like 3 of them and they're so weird.
Oh my God. I can't sit still for 5 seconds, let alone like, 20 minutes with this thing on my face. I would freak out.
I know. And you're sitting there and you can't open your eyes and you can't open your mouth and you can't talk. So you're just like.
So these are things people don't think about when they become actors. Like,
there's so weird things.
All these things. That's so cool. So that was one of your favorite episodes. So we talked about your schooling. I wanted to ask you, going back to school.
Yeah.
So assuming you're obviously on set doing your work, what were the pluses and the minuses to doing school that way as opposed to, I mean, I'm sure you were used to going to regular school as a kid, right?
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you're doing this whole other thing. Like, how was that adjustment? What was that like? Did you miss the other school, etc.?
Yeah. It's weird. I went to public school up until halfway through 6th grade. And it was planned. Like, I knew I was going to LA in January and February, and the plan was just to jump back into school in March. And my school.
Because you went for pilot school. Is that why?
Yeah, they flipped me over to cyber school for the 2 months that I was leaving. And then I booked the show and never went back. But I was supposed to go back in April or March. It's a weird transition because I went to school my whole life, but I think it was helpful for me because it's nice that even right now I still like I can work at my own pace. Like I did a little bit of school today, but I've been busy, so I haven't really done too much. And then tomorrow, if I have nothing going on, I can do school all day. And if you get behind, it doesn't really matter as long as it's all in by the end of the year. Mm-hmm. So I think it's nice because pacing, you can kind of do your own thing, which is cool. Mm-hmm. But I miss the social aspect and getting to like actually take tests and stuff in person because I went to take my SATs and I was like panic sitting in a room taking a test with other kids because like I'm not used to it. And it's definitely not great for college prep in that way, but it's really nice and convenient for acting.
Right. But you did miss a little bit of the social interaction. You missed your friends a little bit, but would you say that like acting, it was totally worth it? Because that, I mean, you know, I'm sure that's what you'd have to say.
I think it's totally worth it. I mean, I missed a ton of school in like 5th grade too, just from doing theater. Like it's kind of chaotic. And I think most people are scared of doing cyber schooling because they're like, oh, I'm not going to get to see people. I want to have friends. And I think if you allow yourself to make friends in different places, like in acting classes, and for me, it was getting on Disney and going to events and meeting all the other Disney kids. And that became like my circle of friends. And I think if you go out still and take new classes and try new things and hang out with new people and just like not be nervous about it, I think you don't miss that social interaction.
Right.
Like I don't feel like I'm lacking social interaction. I definitely did the first like month or two before I met people,
but once you got into the groove of things, you meet people and you're on set and must be so exciting. Right. So cool. Such a great experience that so many people don't really get the chance to have that, you know, to be on a set. And tell me about that. First day on set. First day on set. Were there jitters? What was the excitement? What were you feeling first day on set? Do you recall?
Okay, you know what's funny is on Walk the Prank, I was never nervous. And never at all. And I have done a couple guest star roles, even like recently in the last year, and I get so nervous. Like when I'm doing guest star roles, I'm sitting there and I'm like, everyone, I have 2 lines. What are the 2 lines? I'm forgetting my 2 lines. What are they? And then on Walk the Prank, I have like 20 pages a day and get in.
Did you feel more comfortable, you think, because you were a principal character on that? You were like a bigger part. And so
absolutely. Yeah, it's scarier when you're not.
Right.
Because you feel like everybody's judging you, which they aren't. And you feel like you're like out of place and you feel like you have only 2 lines. So if you mess them up, it's terrible. Whereas when you're a series regular, you're like, oh, if I mess a line, no one.
Right. It's your show. It's like your show in a way, and it's your family, you know? So I can imagine that being like a little more intimidating when you go onto somebody else, you know, you're entering someone else's family for a while. So that's interesting. So your first day on set, no jitters, no nerves. Okay, cool. I wanted to mention that recently you did a short film called It Counts. Can you tell me a little bit about that experience and what that was?
Yeah, me and my friend Lilia applied for a grant to make a short film to encourage people to vote, and we ended up getting it, and we wrote it, did all the production stuff basically on a plane to LA, and had to have it out a week later. So it was kind of the most chaotic week, but it paid off so well and we love it. It was hard. Like we put in hours and hours and hours of work, but in the 1 week before, which seems simple because like, oh, it's putting in the work. But when you're trying to find a location 4 days before, it's more expensive. It's harder to find. There's way less options. And especially during COVID, it was especially hard to get a production together because we had to follow all of COVID laws. And
so you directed, you wrote, and tell me everything you did for that. You came up with the idea.
So Lilia wrote the script. We kind of like came up with the whole thing together. She wrote it, I directed, and then we did all the production stuff together with the two of us. And then I have a friend named Kai Baldwin who's wonderful. He did one of my music videos as well, and he shot it and edited it, and we sat there with him with masks on for hours, and it was just the three of us.
That's so impressive. So impressive. And if you wound up, where did this short film air? It counts.
YouTube.
Okay.
It's all on YouTube. I think we hit 500,000 views, which we were excited about.
Wow, that's super awesome. And you got people out there to vote, which is really important.
Yeah.
Now, did you vote? Was this your first time voting?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. How do you feel?
I know I was one of the lucky ones. All my friends are 17 or turning 18 in a month, and it's like super unfortunate, but I was the lucky one where my first election that I'm eligible is my first one I can vote in.
Wow, very cool, very cool. I'll never forget my first election, but it was going back a long time. Okay, what is some advice that you have for young aspiring actors? Because I know you have a lot of younger fans. So any business sort of industry stuff they should know, any good lessons that you learned along the way that you might want to impart to other people?
I think the main two are, if you're looking to actually do it, there's a website called Actors Access that has a lot of roles and auditions, and I think it even has like agent and managers emails and places to submit to get agents, but that website's cool. But for the physical process, I'd say everyone says this, but seriously, like, don't take no's as you're bad at what you do, because it's really hard. I auditioned for like, I don't know, probably 40 things this year and got one. Like, It's not an easy process, and it looks from the outside like, actors it's glorified, they whatever, you just act and then get roles. There's 10,000 headshots submitted for everything, and if you're one of the lucky 500 that got picked, you are competing against 500 fellow actors, which is a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's also, your hair color's not as dark as we want it, you're too tall. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's uncontrollable, and it's very easy to fall into, I'm not talented because you aren't working, but that really doesn't mean anything. The most talented actors I know aren't working.
Right. It's true. It's a little bit of a numbers game. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important for people to know not to get into their heads too much, like judging themselves, because the minute you start judging yourself or becoming neurotic about it, you know, it's going to be a tough role. It's going to be a tough thing to accomplish. I know when I was a kid, just a little thing, I booked the lead in a TV movie. And the night before filming, we were like, where's like the call time? How come nobody's contacted us with the call time? And then the night before filming, I was let go because I was really tall and I was playing opposite a boy who was they were using a deaf actor. It was about the story between a boy who was deaf and a girl who could hear, and their friendship. Now, I was much taller than him. He was much shorter than me, but we had great chemistry. Anyway, I got fired, then I got replaced the night before, basically. So, and I was in middle school, like
weird industry.
Right.
I booked a movie and then it dragged on for a year and never filmed. Like, it's just the way that this industry is, and it feels like even when you're on set, your job's not secure. Which is weird.
Right. But you just got to do you and got to do the best you can, right? Would that be?
Yeah.
What is the most amazing, the most gratifying thing about being an actor, would you say?
Probably getting to watch it. I feel like it's this big thing when you're finally like, great, it's done. Like, we get to watch it. And the last day, it's always like, that's a wrap on whatever your name is. And everybody's cheering on the whole crew. And it's like, everybody's just such a family. And I think the end is the most gratifying part. Like, I genuinely like when it's done, not because I don't like the process, but because I like the reward of, yay, we did it. It feels like an accomplishment.
Right.
And acting, you constantly get that over and over and over because you're always getting new jobs and you're always essentially going on new job interviews. And I think it's cool because there's always a new first day of work, which is kind of fun.
I love that. That's a great way to think of it. Because like in theater, I know you did theater. I want to get back to that for a second too. So you started off by doing theater, correct?
Yeah.
regional professional jobs or amateur
Regional.
stuff? Okay. And so every day when you're on stage, basically it's like what you're saying. Every day you're, doing a whole new job essentially every day, and you get to accomplish it every single day and every night. So that was another question I had for you. You started in theater. You're a singer-songwriter too.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any aspirations of going back to the stage when we open back up?
Yes, absolutely. There's nothing I want to do more than do like a Broadway show. I can't sing high enough, but we're working on it.
Okay, cool.
I'm like, I'm an alto, but
maybe somebody maybe you can write it for yourself. So say again, sorry.
I want to go back to theater so bad. I love it. I love screen acting. I want to do both, but I haven't done a show in 5 years, so.
That's awesome. Well, you know what? I could see you on stage. You could even write.
Ever.
Right? I love the music from that show. So, okay, you are an amazing singer-songwriter, so I want to talk about that too. How did you get into music and writing music?
Yeah, my parents were in a band in college, and that's how they met. So I've just grown up in a very, very, very musical household where like any spare moment, somebody's playing piano. My whole house is always very loud and chaotic in a good way.
Right.
I just grew up drawing on pieces of paper with tickets and handing them out to everybody in my family and being like, in 10 minutes, hand this to me and you can come watch my show in the basement. And I was constantly singing and was singing at like hotels and stuff that my parents' band was playing at. And I just kind of grew up on like little stages. And I started playing guitar when I was like 13, I think. And then writing came soon after that. And yeah, I like it. So
you just have the natural, you grew up around it, and it's probably, talent. I really do believe it. Talent runs in families. That is very true. I mean, I know a lot of people.
It's funny. My whole family is so musical.
Really? So tell me, who else in your family is musical? Both your parents. What do they do?
My mom sings. My dad plays piano, and he's one of those people that like you could hand him an instrument and he can figure it out in 2 seconds. But mostly piano. My sister is a piano player and she's really awesome. My brother doesn't play music, but like definitely could if he wanted to, but he just like went a different way. Right. And then I play lots of random things.
That's so awesome. So awesome. So you can fill your time with a lot of different things too.
Yeah.
So you can do so many different things. So it's very impressive to me, I have to say. All right. So how do you keep your creative juices flowing during the pandemic? I know you did It Counts, which is awesome, but that was a week, let's say, right? I'm sure there was a lot of thought and work that went into it, maybe a few weeks, or I don't know how long you spent on that. But aside from It Counts, have you been able to work? What have you been up to?
Yeah. Most of the things that I do to get my head in a creative mindset weren't things that got taken away. I don't really find myself, like when I'm with my friends, obviously they motivate me and stuff, but like I don't feel like, oh, I want to go write a song when I'm hanging out with my friends. I just want to hang out with my friends. But the things that make me like want to write and want to play music or like driving in the car around the hills and listening to music and sitting on top of the hills and sitting on my roof, like just random nature things that kind of involve being by myself or in a quiet environment. So I'm very fortunate that I didn't lose that, which is nice because I can still go in a car, which is good.
Right.
So I just kind of kept doing my same thing. I think I wrote more during quarantine than before.
Right. I mean, and there's a lot of good topics too. I mean, when you're sort of going through something as challenging as
a lot of spare time.
Right. There's spare time, and there's also, so many heartbreaking things that are happening, but maybe also hopeful things. And I would imagine there's a lot of, maybe perhaps that's how you keep yourself, going creatively.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you have tons of followers on social media. TikTok, I mean, you've got like 960 some odd thousand people following you on there. You have Instagram, you've got tons of people, there's so many different social media. Now, what's some advice that you have for young people? Because social media can be tricky, right? I mean, like you've got people who are fans and who are lovely and always supportive. And then you've got like trolls and people who can be mean. So what has been your experience with social media, and what what do you recommend? What is your advice to young people who are starting out like you with social media?
I personally like it a lot. I think it's a really great space to connect with people that you wouldn't have had the opportunity to connect with, but it's also very detrimental to your mental health if you don't take precautions,
Right.
including not comparing yourself to others and not obsessing over, oh, this post didn't get as many likes as this one. Who cares? But I really like it because I personally don't feel like my Instagram is a lot of hate comments or anything. And I think it's because I created an environment where like I don't really care if people were to. And I think when people respond to people that leave hate comments and stuff, it riles them up and then they do it more. And I think all my followers are just like, we're all friends and it feels like a nice, safe environment. And like, I talk to my followers all the time. Like we all play video games and stuff together and I love them so much. I think creating a nice environment and putting nice energy out gives you nice energy back. And if people are mean, everyone else is going to be like, stop for you. You don't have to, because everyone else is going to be like, stop, don't talk to her like that. Because if you create a nice environment, it comes back nicely. But of course, there's people that'll always be mean. But
I love that.
Yeah, if you acknowledge that it doesn't matter, then it cuts in half when people know that you genuinely don't care.
I love that. So, okay, cool. The other thing I want to just talk to you about is you have a movie coming out, which I'm super excited. Can you tell me, I don't know if you guys have announced yet, like Godmothered. It's going to be on Disney Plus, and you're starring opposite some major people like Isla Fisher, who I don't know if the audience knows, she was in Wedding Crashers, and she's real famous from that. Wonderful comedic actress. Also Jillian Bell, comedian / SNL writer, an actor. Lots of other people are in this too, like Jane Curtin I saw, and some other really wonderful people. So I'm excited for that. I can't wait to see it. Tell me, was there any, I mean, these are real big Hollywood celebrity type people. Were there any nerves when you got on set for Godmothered?
A little bit. I got to see the movie for the first time 2 days ago, and it was really cool. I'm so excited. But it was funny. Everyone's so wonderful. Start off with that. They were all such wonderful people. There was not one mean person on that set. It was such lovely people. I met most of them pretty conventionally, but it was funny because Isla came like 2 weeks later, I think, because we were just like doing random stuff for 2 weeks before she got there. And the day I met her, we were filming a scene all day and we were outside, and I was in like 10 layers of clothing because it was like 4 degrees. So the whole movie we're like freezing. But I had to pee so bad. And I ran inside and she was right there. And I was like, I literally looked at her and I was like, I'm sorry. I know we haven't met and I really want to meet you and I really want to say hi because we're going to be working together for the next 2 months, but I'm going to go pee. Goodbye. And I like ran and then came back in and was like, hi. Nice to meet you.
That's so funny. So that's awesome. So you became close with these people. You had a good time working on set with them.
Yeah, I was on the phone with Allie yesterday. They're all so wonderful.
Do you guys have like a group chat going or something?
We don't have a group chat, but we all chat.
That's so cool. And when can we expect to see this movie, Godmothered? We don't know yet.
It's set at Christmas time, but...
All right. Where did you film it? Why was it 4 degrees out?
Boston in January.
That's right. You know what? We have a couple of students in it, a girl named Willa Sky. I don't know if you... Okay.
She's my little sister.
Oh, no way. Okay,
and also just like my BFF on the face of this earth.
No way. Awesome. Well, she did a few classes, also some of our Disney Nick classes. One with a guy who you might know. I don't know if you've ever worked with the director, John Rosenbaum.
I don't think on TV, but maybe I've met him.
Right. He's like he does a lot of Disney Nick stuff. Anyway,
cool.
So she took his workshop and a couple other things. And
she's such a sweetheart.
Super funny, like great comedic actor like you as well. And then another girl, Erica Parks, but I don't know if you met her.
Oh, yeah.
You did?
You know what's funny? I didn't meet her because we were doing completely separate things, but I like saw her and
Uh-huh.
she saw me one time, but like we didn't see each other. And then we're friends on Instagram and have like DM'd, but like we never spoke in person.
Right, right. That can happen on sets, right?
Mhm.
So we don't know when Godmother's coming out, but everybody needs to see it. And one more question. Is there like a celebrity that you are dying to work with?
Oh, Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh yeah, that's a
She
good
just like is a very big inspiration for me. Like if I have to do monologues, I sit myself down and Google Jennifer Lawrence monologue and then I like analyze it and I'm like, how? Because she's
She's
just so talented.
so talented beyond. I mean, what's that movie with Bradley Cooper? It's so famous and I loved
Mhm.
it beyond. And there's great monologues in that too. What am I thinking of?
Yeah.
What was the
Silver Linings Playbook.
Silver Linings, right? Silver Linings Playbook. Great.
It's one of my two favorite movies on the face of this earth. The other being Moana. Oh, and third, Booksmart. But it's one of my three.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
They're kind of opposite ends of the spectrum, Moana and Silver Linings Playbook. But
right. But hey, you have diverse taste. That's good.
Yes.
We like that. And lastly, what is a fun fact about you that we don't know? Is there anything that we might not know that's a fun fact? Putting you on the spot there.
Ooh. I had a pet hedgehog.
Really? Very cool. Hedgehog's name was?
Kirpi. I think it means hedgehog in Turkish.
Oh, cool. Do you have any Turkish background or is this just a random name?
No, I think we were Googling. My brother got her for my sister and I for Christmas like 6-7 years ago. And I think my sister was Googling hedgehog in different languages to like come up with a cute name.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where it came from.
So cute. I love it. I love it. So thank you, Jillian, for, joining today on this live. You are such an inspiration, I'm sure, to so many.
Thank you.
And we're super excited for all of your success. We can't wait to see Godmothered, everybody.
I know.
Plus,
I hope you like it.
I'm sure I will. The cast is amazing. You're amazing. Why wouldn't I? It's going to be great. Tell your parents that I say hello and
I will.
thank you again for coming today.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
It's so great seeing you again.
Good seeing you. I'm a lot older now.
No.
Kisses, hugs, stay safe.
See you soon.
Bye.